Shall we play a game?
Why, yes, I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Live from Little Rock, it's Shane Plays Radio. Welcome, I'm your host, Shane Stacks. This is Geek Talk Radio. I'm glad to be here, whether you're listening on 96.5 FM The Answer out of Little Rock, or if you're listening online via the stream at 96.5fmtheanswer.com, or on the iHeart or TuneIn app, or TuneIn Radio apps on your smartphone. Welcome very much. Got a great show lined up today. We got a lot of geek news and tidbits. Second part of the hour, we're going to be talking with Alex, the audio director of BattleBards, which is epic fantasy audio and tools for tabletop role-playing games, RPGs. I've heard their stuff, and it's good. So we're looking forward to talking with Alex and also playing some of their samples for you to hear. Some quick housekeeping notes, and we'll move right into things. Don't forget that this show goes out as a podcast. After the show, it'll go out tonight or tomorrow. And then it'll go on my blog at shaneplays.com. You can also find it on iTunes and Stitcher and some other podcast directories out there. So look for it. It's just Shane Plays. The notes and links for today's show right now are on shaneplays.com. So one of the things I try to do is when I have news items or interviews or whatever, you know, hey, what's this guy talking about? I want to know more. I didn't catch that link. You can go to shaneplays.com, and there's the very top post is links and notes from today's show. Also, you can always call in. This is live radio, whether you're local in Little Rock or somewhere else. Feel free to call in at 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. And you can tweet me at Shane Plays. Shane like my name, Shane, and plays like I like to play things. So at Shane Plays. So moving forward, before we get into the geek news, we're going to do that for a bit, and then we're going to have our interview at the second half of the hour with BattleBards. We have a new sponsor, and you're going to hear their ad later in the show during one of our breaks, but I wanted to highlight them. They're a new sponsor. I want to welcome to the show. It's Mega Wars, okay, and you can check them out at megawars.net, and what this is it's an online MMO space strategy game that's heavy PvP. The players determine what happens, and it has a cool twist. It resets every 30 days. Now, this game has been out there for decades. It's got a huge following, big fan base, people who just love it passionately. And my friend David Beatty is bringing it into the now. So, and they're actually going to be our interview subject next week. But be paying attention for that megawars.net ad later in the show. All right, we're going to get into the news. Hey, Kendall, do we have that can we turn the microphone on in the newsroom so that people can hear how hard our news people are at work?
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you what, warm up the microphone and we'll listen in on them here in a second. So there they are. Look at that. Touchdown. Those are some they come in and work so hard on Saturdays, Kendall.
They're very hard work.
They're hard work in getting all this news together. So the first news item I got, and I tried to get somebody to come on. I loved their Facebook post, but due to their schedule, they weren't able to come on today. I was going to have them give their mini review. But evidently, the Fantastic Four movie is stinking up the joint, Kendall. Evidently, It's just flat stinking up the joint. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I have heard nothing good about it. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 9%.
No way.
Yeah, it briefly went up to 10%, but then it dropped back down to 9%. And I'm hearing the people who have seen it and the critics they're like, it's awful. They're just nobody likes it. So I don't know what happened. I have heard at least one person go, well, the Marvel finally made a bad movie. Okay, we got to be clear. This is a Fox movie.
Yes.
Okay, Fox owns Fantastic Four, and they own X-Men. Okay, this is not a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. This is not the people that brought us the Avengers and Iron Man and Captain America. In fact, a lot of people are kind of hoping that this was going to bomb so that maybe Marvel can get the rights back to the Fantastic Four. So we'll see what happens. If anybody out there's seen it, I'd love to hear your opinion. You don't have to call me and you don't have to be, Roger Ebert. You can say, hey, I liked it, I didn't like it, whatever. You can call 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays. I'd love to hear. You can call in anytime in the next 30 minutes or so and let me know what you thought. I'll tell you, Brian Blevins, who owns the game store in Jacksonville, Arkansas, I was trying to have him on today. He wanted to come on, but he's got a tournament, I think, starting at noon today, and I think they're doing board games at his store tonight related to Gen Con, which just wrapped. So he wasn't able to come on. But here's what he put on Facebook, and this I knew it was getting bad press, but this is when I know that something had gone horribly, awfully wrong. And what he said was, so the new Fantastic Four movie was pretty much dog blank. And by pretty much, I mean it was 100% dog blank. I actually think that if they showed a dog taking a blank, this movie might have been better. Kendall's in there laughing. There is no saving this movie. I think that even at this time, it's a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. It will hopefully reach the aptly named Fantastic 4% because 9 is too high. So, Kendall, based on that review, did he like it or did he not like it?
I'm gonna tell you right now, hate is not even a word to describe how he got it moving.
Well, Brian has gone on. Remember, people, if you haven't been there, if you're in the Central Arkansas area, go to the game store in Jacksonville, Arkansas. They actually took over the old Hastings right there on Main Street.
Yeah, and
it's a comic book shop. It's a game store. And they also you can just grab board games and sit down and play them. They have a selection. You can just grab one and go up there and play a game. But now he's using Fantastic Four in place of a curse word on every time he'll say, well, that got Fantastic Forward, or I stubbed my toe and it was already Fantastic Forward, but now it's really Fantastic Forward. So this is how much Brian hates the Fantastic Four movie.
It's very clear that he hates it.
He don't like it, and I haven't heard anybody else say good things about it. So I don't know much about it. I'll check it out because I'm a geek. So I'll see it either in the theater or on video or whatever, and there'll probably be little moments here and there that I like. But the overall thing, they kind of changed it up. They made him younger. They can't seem to get Dr. Doom right. They just can't. They want to keep Dr. Doom as a villain works great. He's a megalomaniacal. I said that megalomaniacal dictator of an Eastern European country that wears armor, is super brilliant, and he's also like a sorcerer. Why do you got to keep messing that up? I mean, he looks cool, right? I mean, he's got the green cape and the armor, and I don't understand why they can't. The movies they did, Kendall, a few years ago, which were okay. I mean, they were watchable.
They were okay.
Yeah, I mean, they were watchable. They weren't terrible. They didn't do him like Doom. And then in this new one, he's not the Doom that we know.
He's even his attire is just a little bit different now.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing. But anyway, they can't get it right. And hopefully, because the Fantastic Four is a great property, if you will, the comic books, the family, and all the stuff. I mean, there's some good stuff there, so hopefully they'll get a good movie out. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I got a ton of geek news, including Gen Con's attendance, the 2015 Ennies winners. We're going to talk about Windows 10. We're going to talk about a Dungeons & Dragons movie. We're going to talk about Mark Hamill and the Joker voice. We got a lot of news here, but let's hit that first break, Kendall.
MegaWars.net. The classic online space strategy game has returned, bigger and better than ever before. Scout the universe and claim your empire. Construct, customize, and launch dozens of different starships. Battle thousands of opponents online in a team-based competition leading to the ultimate battle of the galaxies. Grab your slot today in one of the most hotly anticipated indie games of 2015. Visit MegaWars.net and get options only available during our pre-sale event running now. MegaWars.net.
Privately owned and licensed by the Arkansas State Police, Rock City Alarm Company has been in business since 1996, specializing in sales, installation, servicing, and monitoring of burglar alarms and fire alarms for the state of Arkansas. Rock City Alarm provides service for residential and commercial alarms, and now provides cellular monitoring with remote arm and disarm. Just call John Hardiman at 501-541-8747. That's John Hardiman at 501-541-8747. In business for over 15 years, the Hillcrest Doghouse provides full grooming, bathing, boarding, and daycare services for just about all breeds with knowledgeable and friendly staff, including a licensed groomer with over 10 years experience. The Hillcrest Doghouse uses all natural shampoos, including a pesticide-free flea shampoo. All kennels are situated where we work, which means your companion is rarely left alone, providing the benefit of full interaction with our friendly staff. Additionally, we walk your dog at least 3 times a day to ensure a happy day. Grooming and boarding packages are also available at great prices. The Hillcrest Doghouse is located at 3924 West Markham Street in Little Rock. Call the Hillcrest Doghouse at 501-296-9800. That's 501-296-9800. We're also on Facebook. Find us and like us. Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.
All right, and we are back on Shane Plays Radio, Geek Talk Radio out of Little Rock. But I know some people listen, or a lot of people actually listen online and streaming on their phones and etc. Anyway, so we did a little bit of news before the break, got some more news after. At the half hour, we've got an interview with Alex from BattleBards, which they do this really excellent audio that you can use for your tabletop role-playing games. So I'm looking forward to talking with them. They sent me some samples to listen to. We've got them queued up. We're going to listen to some, and they sound really good. Also, if you've seen the Fantastic Four movie, feel free to call at 501-823-0965 or tweet me at Shane Plays. I'd love to hear your take because I'm hearing not good things. It's things that are so bad it's humorous how bad it is. So let me know if you've seen it. Also, you just heard that break. You heard our sponsors. Mega Wars, Rock City Alarm Company. The Hillcrest Doghouse, all that. If you contact one of our sponsors, please tell them Shane Plays sent you. We're blessed to have sponsors, and they help keep the show on the air. And you also heard that talking about Patreon, which is patreon.com. You can go to patreon.com/Shane Plays, and you can pledge as little as $1 a show and help keep the show on the air. Once again, you can listen without pledging. That's fine. But if you like what you hear and you want to support the show, I definitely appreciate it. But now on to the news. Or continuing with the news, Gen Con, which is like the big, huge gaming convention that was just, I think it was over last weekend, if I remember right. It's doubled in size since 2010. This is the gaming renaissance we're in right now, Kendall. It's doubled since 2010. This year, over 4 days, they had 61,000 people.
Wow.
That's a lot of people going to a gaming convention, and that's doubled in 4 or 5 years. So that's a pretty big deal. I mean, that shows that I've said on previous shows that the gaming industry, especially tabletop, like role-playing games and board games, is in a huge renaissance right now. And that's one of the reasons why I do this show, because the things that are considered geek culture, games, video games, comic books are big right now. And I really feel that there's, a need to talk about it and keep people informed and just have a fun show about it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing the show. But it's grown to 61,423 people. That's a lot. And that was just recently. Also coming out every year at Gen Con, EN World, which is ENWORLD.org, enworld.org. There's a guy named Morris that runs this site. Well, for several years now, he's been doing the Ennies. And the Ennies are basically the Oscars of tabletop games. So they basically put out, the nominees, and then people can vote. And I think they had a record-setting amount of voters this year. I can't remember. I mean, it was in the tens of thousands. It may have even been, 20,000 or something people voted on this. But they've given out the awards for RPG and RPG-related products. I'm going to go over a few of them here. This is the Ennies, and you can go to enworld.org. And I think there's also an Ennies website. It's ENNIES, so the Ennies. But here's some of the winners. And before I even go into this, Wizards of the Coast, which does Dungeons & Dragons, won quite a bit of these awards. Normally, I would say, well, it's just because they're the biggest. But the Wizards of the Coast with 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons has put out some really good stuff. So this year, I'm not going to be cynical and say it's just because they're the biggest. They're doing really good stuff. And, Paizo, who does Pathfinder, is quite big as well. So it's not just about being big, at least not this year. So here's some samples of what, there were several categories. I'll go over a few of them. Best Adventure. And I kind of want to check this out because it was either nominated or won for several categories. And it's called A Red and Pleasant Land by Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I guess that. I think the Lamentations of the Flame Princess is both the company and the setting. Like Dungeons & Dragons is a setting, right, or a game. And so I think Lamentations of the Flame Princess is both. And then there was the gold winner was Horror on the Orient Express by Chaosium, and they do a lot of the Call of Cthulhu stuff. So best aid or / accessory, the silver was the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition RPG dice set, black and green, and the gold was the Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master screen. Best cover art was Achtung Cthulhu, Terrors of the Secret War by Modifius Entertainment, and the gold was Rise of Tiamat by Wizards of the Coast. And that's, I'm not surprised that they won for that, for the best cover art, because one of the things about 5th edition, it's amazingly good artwork. That's one of the things you notice right off the bat. I can't go over all these categories. I'll go over a few more. So the best, let's see, the best monster / adversary was once again, the silver was Achtung Cthulhu, Terrors of the Secret War, and the gold was Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual. So, like I said, D&D's really wrapping up here. The best, I think I saw something in here for a best blog. Now, I haven't been to either of these blogs, but the silver was Gnome Stew, like Gnome, Gnome. And the gold was Contessa Tabletop Gaming by Women for Everyone. So I do want to check those blogs out one of these days and see what the deal's about. Best podcast. And I didn't enter Shane Plays Kindle because, I wanted other people to have a chance, right? So I just stepped aside and let other people go for it.
You should for real next time, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's a radio show that's also a podcast, so I don't know if it'd qualify, but we'll see. But this year, I just kind of stepped aside. I wanted to be gracious and let people have a chance, have a chance, Kendall. So the silver was Miskatonic University, and the gold was Ken and Robin Talk About Stuff. So those were the two podcasts. Best production values, once again, silver was Horror on the Orient Express by Chaosium, and then gold was Dungeons & Dragons starter set, Wizards of the Coast, and that did have some really good production values. So let's kind of and kind of lead up to the product of the year. There's several categories that I'm not going over, so you can go to shaneplays.com, and there's a link to the winners of the Ennies. The best software was silver was Hero Lab by Lone Wolf Development, and gold was Roll20. And I think it's cool that Roll20 won because, Kendall, what Roll20 is, it allows you to play online with a group of people a tabletop role-playing game very similar as to if you're actually around a table. Okay. So if you're, if your group is scattered or you're having a hard time getting a group together for the game you want to play, you can use this Roll20, and it works really well. So I'm glad to see that they got some love. So, all right, there's other categories here. There's best best setting, best rules, best writing, best website, best supplement, product of the year, Fans' choice for best publisher. But I'm going to read the product of the year, and then people can go look up whatever they want. But the product of the year is, here goes my bad drum roll. It's Silver was once again a Red and Pleasant Land by Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I've got to go check this out just because it sounds like it's a high quality thing. And then the product of the year, which I agree with, I think they put out a wonderful product for 5th edition, was Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook. So there's some of the winners of the Oscars of role-playing games, the Ennies. That's right. You heard all that on the air. This is a Geek Talk radio show, right? Discover your inner geek. If you're already a geek, come along for the ride. If you're not a geek, discover your inner geek because you're missing out. So those are the Ennies winners. Here we go. I think that people will like this, get a laugh out of it, if you will. Kendall, Mark Hamill has been confirmed to return as the Joker in the Batman the Killing Joke animated movie that's coming out.
You couldn't have it no other way.
You couldn't. A lot of people, he kind of lobbied for it. People wanted it. I think we've got a little bit of audio of him queued up laughing. Have we got that ready to go? Come on, Joker. Give us your laugh. Is the Joker being is he being difficult? All right, so that's the one and only Mark Hamill. A lot of people know him as Luke Skywalker. In some ways, he's gotten even bigger as among fandom, Batman fandom, animation fandom, as the voice of the Joker. So The Killing Joke is a very well-known graphic novel from the 80s where basically Alan Moore, who's an amazing doesn't even do it justice, writer for comic books, wrote a graphic novel about Batman and the Joker, and kind of went into a possible origin story of the Joker. So Mark Hamill is coming for that. And then I've heard that Kevin Conroy, who's always been the voice of Batman in the animated series, it would like to be Batman. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So another couple of quick news tidbits. Then we're going to go. We're going to take a break. Come back and talk to BattleBards. Alex is already on the line. He's ready to jump in there with us. We'll do a couple of news items. Hit a break. All right. Dungeons and Dragons. There's been a legal settlement that paves the way for a new movie that's going to be set in the Forgotten Realms. Okay, so a lot of people, when they hear D&D movie, they cringe because the ones that we've had so far have not been so good. No, they've been bad. I'll lay it out there. They've been bad. They've been watchable if you're a geek, but they haven't been good movies. This evidently is involving Warner Brothers. And Chris Perkins, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, who's very involved at Wizards of the Coast with Dungeons & Dragons, he tweeted he's been some really interesting meetings, but he can't say anything yet. So we'll be curious to see what happens there. And finally, Windows 10 came out a little over a week ago. Have you upgraded yet, Kendall?
Not yet, no.
I upgraded a couple nights ago. I have to say, very smooth. Very smooth. I haven't heard of anybody having problems. Maybe somebody is out there. There's always going to be exceptions. But I know several people have upgraded. It downloads automatically your computer. It's a free upgrade pretty much for anybody that already has a copy of Windows 7 or 8, I think. It works fine. You could tell there's enough difference that you've got a new operating system, but it feels enough like Windows 7 or 8 that you don't feel like you're stumbling around not knowing what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to tell people, on the blog post for the show notes, there's 2 articles people need to go pay attention to. If you've already upgraded to Windows 10 or if you're going to upgrade to Windows 10, there's 2 articles that I've got on theshaneplays.com on that blog post. One is the first 5 things you need to do immediately after you install Windows. And it's very it shares a lot of your information with Microsoft right off the bat. So you got to turn that stuff off. There's also some Wi-Fi auto connecting you want to turn off. But there's 5 things you want to go take a look at that they default you to that I don't agree with and these article writers don't agree with. The other one is Windows 10 is spying on almost everything you do and how to opt out of it. So go, if you're going to upgrade to Windows 10 or you already have, go check out these 2 articles on shaneplays.com. It's on the blog post for this show. And finally, and then we're going to take a break, Kendall, Wii U sales finally hit 10 million units.
Finally.
So, And Nintendo has recently turned a profit. I think a lot of the profit they're turning is off those Amiibos, that AMIIBO thing, the little figures. Yeah. Okay, but they finally hit 10 million units. So I'm hoping their next console is going to be more successful because I was a big fan of the Wii. I'd like to see them catch that fire again. So
I like the Wii. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. You're over here making me crunch my paper. That was a revolutionary product. All right. Anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Alex from BattleBards.
Comic book lovers, Michael Tierney's local comic book stores meet all of your comic book needs with friendly service. Visit the comic book store on Treasure Hill Road in Little Rock or Collector's Edition on JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock. And don't forget to click on over to the wildstars.com website. I personally have been a customer of Michael's since the mid-'80s, and I trust him for my reserve list still today. Michael knows comics. In addition to being in business for 34 years, he has written multiple columns for comic magazines, is an Overstreet price guide advisor, and publishes his own comic book series, The Wild Stars. Trust me, these stores are run by a comic book lover for comic book lovers. Remember, for all of your comic book needs with friendly service and to get your copies of The Wild Stars, make sure to visit the comic book store on Treasure Hill Road in Little Rock or Collector's Edition on JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock, and visit thewildstars.com to learn more.
Call Chapman Service today for all your air conditioning and electrical concerns. 0% financing till January 2020 for a limited time. Voted best of the best for 5 years in a row. It's hard to stop a train. Chapman Service, all you want in an air conditioning and an electrical company, nothing you don't.
Did you know that your business can provide its employees with the same benefits packages as even the largest Fortune 500 companies, often at no direct cost to you, the business owner, and while saving money at the same time? If you've always thought that you would like to offer those big company benefits to your employees but thought that there was no way, let our team at the Make-Em Teague Agency come by and show you how it can be possible and how simple it is to put into place. We offer major medical and group and individual plans, on or off exchange, dental and vision, life products, cancer, accident, and more. These benefits create that ever so priceless commodity known as loyalty. And yes, we are ACA certified. We even offer these same benefits on the individual basis if you're just a one-person entrepreneur or making things happen on your own. Give us a call today at 501-838-6827 to schedule your no-obligation on-site consultation. The Make-Em Teague Agency is serving all of Arkansas and surrounding states. 501-838-6827. Give us 1% of your trust, and we'll earn the other 99.
JLM Tree Servicing can take care of your tree servicing needs. Contact them at 501-351-7714, online at jlmservicing.com, and on Facebook. Do you have limbs touching the roof or killing your grass with too much shade? Leaves collecting in the pool or gutters? Need to remove that unsightly dead tree? JLM Servicing is insured, provides free estimates, serves all of Central Arkansas, and doesn't collect payment until job well done. JLM Tree Servicing, 501-351-7714. Find them online at jlmservicing.com or on Facebook.
All right, and we are back on Shane Plays Radio. Remember, if you contact any of our sponsors, make sure to tell them Shane Plays sent you. We are blessed to have them, and I appreciate them so much. So, and that, I just want to, as a personal note, that was my lovely wife Sheila reading that last ad for JLM Tree Servicing. I think she's got a nice voice. She's got a very nice voice. So, anyway, we now have Alex from BattleBards on the phone. And I saw a tweet from BattleBards that said that he was so excited to come on that he wanted extra time in the makeup chair to get ready. And Alex, I just want to set you at rest. Nobody can see you. It's okay.
Oh man! All right. Well, I know it pays to look at it.
I know you put a lot of time, and I appreciate that effort. Because if you feel good, you'll sound good. But yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. If they mess up the makeup, you're fine. So listen, welcome to the show. You're welcome. What I'd like to do is give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, your role at BattleBards, and then tell us a little bit what BattleBards is about. Before we do that, if anyone's listening and they have a question, I know that y'all have tweeted, people, hey, you can call in and ask questions. It's 501-823-0965. That's the number. It's 501-823-0965. And if anybody tweets you a question, and you're like, hey, somebody tweeted me a question, can I answer it? That's fine. Just feel free to bring that up, and we'll do that. So
sure. So yeah, my Twitter handle is at SoulCollectorXX. So yeah, tweet me a question. Be happy to answer whatever I can.
Cool, great. So so tell us a little bit about just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do at BattleBards, and then tell us what BattleBards is.
Sure. So I have been a hardcore tabletop RPG fan for, don't want to date myself too much but I think I'm going on 2 decades. I've spent a majority of my time as a GM. The longest game I think I've run is I've run a 5-year campaign, and I'm running a second campaign that's in its 5th year. Gaming is my life. It's my passion, much to my wife's chagrin, but it's really been a very important part of my life for a very long time. I am the audio director at BattleBards, so every creative brief that's put out to casting, all of the the audio library and its shape, what's going to be done and how that kind of goes through me. Final selection of talent, kind of the process that we go about sourcing audio. Goes for me, and it's a very enjoyable job. It's really a dream come true that I'm kind of having this opportunity to bring to life the races, the classes, this environment that I am so passionate about. So what is BattleBards? So it is bringing premium, top tier music, soundscapes, sound effects, languages, voiceovers, every aspect of gaming audio to the gamers in a practical way. So you could have Hans Zimmer himself create an orchestral piece for you. That's awesome. But if you don't have the right tools to use that in your game, it's not going to be as useful as it could otherwise be. So not only do we bring top shelf audio to your gaming table, we bring the tools to do it. So a customized soundboard, a mixer, the tools that a GM really needs to bring that audio to your fingertips in a way that it makes playing it a practical experience is something that we do as well. So, we ran a very successful Kickstarter. So thank you right now, anybody listening, our backers, thank you so much. We are in the middle of development, which is just going at a fevered pace. So lots of work being done. So what do I mean by premium audio, by the way, to take a quick step back? We're not messing around. Every piece in our library has to be earned. So this is a very premium library. We're not like iTunes where literally people can just submit whatever. We curate our list very carefully. So it goes through a committee here at BattleBards to make sure that it meets our expectations as far as, does it fill a specific purpose? Does it highlight a race or a class or an objective or a scene in a way that it's supposed to? The talent that we work with, top shelf stuff. So one of our voiceover talents, Joe Thomas, he did the Skeleton King in Diablo 3. People who work on Disney commercials, Coca-Cola commercials. So we're not messing around with the talent. So very, very proud of the folks that we get to work with. And we're going to hear a little bit about that in today's show, right, Shane?
Yeah, we've got some samples that we're going to play. In fact, just to tease people, we're not going to play all the samples right now, but Kendall, do you see there's one in there for Magic Missile? Okay, I asked when we were emailing, they were like, what do you want? I was like, well, and you kind of offered, you're like, hey, let's play something from each category. I said, well, that sounds great to me. I said, do you happen to have Magic Missile? Because that's my all-time favorite spell ever. And to date, myself, that's been my favorite spell since probably about 1983. So I just love Magic Missile. So do we have that queued up? Okay, let's play that real quick. And I love that, Alex. Let me tell you why I like that sound. One, if people are listening over the air, some sound quality is not going to come through. If you're listening on the podcast, you're probably getting a little bit better exactly how it sounds. But it's very clear. It's a very rich sound. And there's multiple things happening. It's not just boom, 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 Magic Missile went out. There's this sort of buildup of the energies. Then it releases. Then it hits. That's what I heard.
Right.
So did I hear the right thing? Okay.
You did. And here is one of the magic aspects of BattleBards is with the soundboard, you're going to be able to dynamically on the fly crop everything. So let's say you didn't want the wind up, because you're totally spot on, Shane. Yeah, you got the wind up, the climax of the buildup of energy, the sending of the missiles, the flying through the air, and the impact. If you wanted just the wind up for a different spell, you just wanted to cut out the wind up, you wanted to just get to the missiles flying and impacting, you can literally with click and drag functionality. So you don't need to be an audio engineer. You don't need to, if you want to layer tracks, it's literally click and drag interface. And that helps you get so much more mileage out of this spell or any other audio asset that's going to be on the soundboard. So
it really sounds like that you guys realize that in order for this to be the product you want it to be, that the tools are just as important as the sounds. Because, I mean, anybody can go down. I'm not saying that your sounds aren't rich and great. So the sounds themselves are definitely a far cut above of a lot of stuff you can find. But, for years we've been able to just go download MP3s and play them as we wanted. That's not what we're talking about here. It's the sounds plus the tools that allow you to seamlessly integrate them as you're playing.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And I've been using, OSTs that I purchased for many, many years, any kind of free sound effects from free sound effects libraries that I can get my hands on. Oh, yeah, I've been using those for a long time. And those are great, don't get me wrong. What BattleBards is very, very specific to gaming material, which makes it so powerful. But, being able to not only crop the other stuff that I'm bringing in from outside sources and being able to layer them even with specific BattleBards audio is just mind-blowing. Like, for instance, a couple weeks ago, I ran a session where I was able to use one of our tavern voiceovers and set it to Two Hornpipes by Hans Zimmer, Pirates of the Caribbean, which made such an amazing setting. It's almost as if the music piece was crafted for that voiceover, and that was such an immersive moment in the game where my party was like, oh, yeah, get me some ales, and what kind of games do we have in this tavern to play? It was outrageous. It was awesome.
So that you actually answered one of the questions that I had was, can you bring in your own sounds into the tools to use in conjunction with the sounds that BattleBards provides? And I'm pretty sure I heard the answer was yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was, because people are going to want to do that, right? So it's like, oh, well, I've used this one sound forever, and, I don't want to have a different piece of software, just to play that one sound. So, and let me ask you this. I've read through the Kickstarter, I've read through your website, and people go to battlebards.com, and, there's all kinds of great information about what this is. That link is also on the shaneplays.com blog post that, that's talking about this interview. Now, and I think that even though people, if I saw right, even the Kickstarter's over, but there's still an opportunity for people to pre-order. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So if you go to battlebards.com, we have a pre-order store going on right now. If you are interested in any amount of this, very finely crafted audio for your game, please go to the pre-order store and get some now, because we don't know if we're going to be able to keep these discounts going once we go live. We're actually most likely going to have to eliminate these discounts because, of course, we have to make sure our talent is being paid the rate that they deserve. So we were able to offer discounts in the Kickstarter. We have some discounts right now in the pre-order store. If you're going to get any, whether it's going to be, $10 or so, or it's going to be $500, get it in now so you can lock in some discounts before we go live.
Okay. So, and when does BattleBards go live, as it were? When can people actually use it?
So, you know how software development can go.
Yeah.
It's really tough to pin something down, but we seem to be on track so far with the timeline that we set out when we closed our Kickstarter. So we're still looking at about an alpha around September, maybe towards the tail end of September, a beta around October, and then going live in November. Again, please take that with a grain of salt. Software development,
Sure.
especially when you're working with Agile, tends to kind of, sometimes push your goalposts depending on what priorities, some priority items that pop up. But that's what we're looking at right now.
Okay. Well, so, yeah, it's totally normal to have a window in software development. So, I mean, I've got I'm a web developer. I'm not a hardcore, developer of just applications. But yeah, it's very hard, even though your best intentions to hit an exact date. So, but now, if somebody pre-orders or if somebody did a certain level of Kickstarter, are they going to get to play with the alpha or the beta, or is it just, it's like, only full product, or like, I guess what I'm saying, if somebody right now was interested and they went and pledged or supported or bought at a certain level, are they going to have a chance to look at it before the full product comes out?
Yeah, so I think, definitely in the Kickstarter, we had various tiers that if you pledged at a certain level, you got in on the alpha. If you pledged at another level, you got in the beta. I think we're still continuing that onto the pre-order store. I'm not 100% sure, kind of looking at it right now. I think you can still get in early on, depending on how much you come into the pre-order store. So, we definitely strongly believe in getting feedback from the community. Now, there's usually only so much that you could pivot really early on. But, as far as the direction that we're going with the soundboard and the mixer, definitely want to be engaging with the community, which is really the prime motivator for getting people in really early.
Okay, great. All right, well, let's real quick, let's play a couple more of your sounds, and then we'll come back to a couple more questions that I have. But Kendall, let's queue up. Let's see. Some of these sounds I've listened to, a lot of them. I haven't listened to everything. I haven't listened to this celestial language, Angel One, Fatherly. So I want to hear. I want to hear this. So I'm going to be just as surprised as everyone else on this one.
Ilasa om arul asia sorilasa, kanse irgil go heada gita kamliatsa.
Okay, so that's a celestial language, an example of a celestial language, which was done very well. And I guess am I right? In the voice actor there was somebody named Kyle McCarley. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, by the file name. Yeah. Okay, is that okay to mention that if I see the?
Oh yeah, okay. No, we love promoting our talent. No, that's great.
Okay, and then we have the next thing is the ambiance from a dwarven temple. I'm getting Kindle's working on it. What you heard there was BattleBards, their audio of one hand clapping. Very well done, Alex.
Thank you. That took a lot of work.
Yeah, very, very well done. So I think Kindle's working on it. There we go. Okay, and that is not the whole track. That's just a portion of the Dwarven Temple or the Dwarf Temple ambiance, and the name attached to that is Richard Daskus.
Yeah, Richard Daskus, an amazing talent. He's really earned his spot in quite a few slots in the library. So when we go live, you're going to see a lot of work from him. Strongly recommend you check out his portfolio. It really is amazing. And playing a little bit of this piece, you really see how deep we go. Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that the accents of the audio are distinctly dwarven, that the iconic aspects of the races really come through. So you've kind of got the deep male vocals, you've got the cavernous feel because a lot of the clan holds are underground. That's the level of detail that goes into everything we do, and I'm really, really proud of a lot of the pieces that really kind of show that. So also, so you guys know, as far as using music in gaming, so I also, by the way, I do some blogs for the Mad Adventure Society, where I kind of talk a lot about injecting audio in gaming. There's two types of music that we're going to offer, and one's ambiance or score, as it's known in the film industry, and source. So what's the difference? Source is music or audio that's intended for the characters to hear, not just the players. And score, of course, is just the players. It's ambiance. So I think I sent you also a source piece. And that's something that is very new in this space, where we make that distinction, where the DM has this additional tool where you could have audio that's specifically made. It's like, look, your characters are hearing this. You can interact with this. This is something that's part of the scene that's unfolding. Okay.
I'm looking at, I don't have anything that's specifically tagged source. Do you remember off the top of your head which one that might have been? We'll be happy to play it.
See. Yeah, so the Gnome Celebration.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well, let's play that then. There's the gnome, and a gnome, if people don't know, they're like little fat halflings, and they make stuff, and they're kind of happy.
Garden people.
Yeah, garden people. Except the D&D and other gaming gnomes don't usually wear the conical hats.
Oh, okay.
Usually. So, all right, yeah, let's play that real quick. All right, so that was Gnome Celebration, once again by Richard Daskus. I think I'm saying that right. So that was, very rich, a lot of stuff going on there. And you were saying with that being sourced that it would be okay if the characters, the people playing, actually reacted to that. Like they heard somebody laughing and they allowed their character to react to the fact that somebody's laughing or something like that, or like fireworks.
That's right.
Going off. Okay, well that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So the GM can be like, okay, as you walk into this village and you hear that they're in the middle of a celebration, then you play that piece and you've got fireworks, you got gnomes laughing, you got this like the piece is like a battle of the bands. So with gnomes, they're highly individualistic. They are premier artists. They hone their crafts over many years. So we wanted to show both the chaotic nature, the individuality, and the high degree of skill in music. So the cool thing about that track is you will transition from one instrument to another as all these various gnome bands come and go, yet they play an overall harmonious track. They kind of add to a single piece,
sure, which
is kind of like the hidden subtext of that music.
Well, and this goes into a word I'm hearing more and more, where it's a scape, an audio scape or a sound scape. It's like not a collection, and almost like a sculpture built out of sounds or something like that. It's layered and there's all this stuff going on. So I hope I'm using that term correctly. But I hear more and more with gaming audio, and there, I'm not mentioning this other product. I'm not trying to pitch you guys against each other. I think that the gaming industry is big enough to support both. But I've been following another product called Sirenscape for a couple of years, and they sound like they're different from you in that they're all about scapes. It's multiple scapes that you can build, and it's never the same sound twice. So does your product also allow you to kind of do that sort of scape approach? Is that is that something that BattleBards will do?
Yeah. So
okay.
For the record, we love Sirenscape. I think they have a great product. You're right on in which what they're offering the GM is slightly different. We do also have soundscapes, so we're going to have a huge list of environmental and also what we call monster scapes, which is instead of featuring an environment, you feature a monster. And the great thing about also bringing soundscapes into BattleBards is you could layer it with anything you want, which is, the hundreds of other BattleBards tracks that you're going to have access to, or even stuff from outside from your own library. So you could have this loopable swamp soundscape, and there's going to be huge selections of it. And you could also be throwing in voiceovers, sound effects. You can mix an hour's worth. You can make sure that it loops cleanly. So yeah, soundscapes is something that we're also heavily invested in.
Okay, well, cool. Well, we've actually, time on radio goes so quick. We've got about 4 minutes left, so I want to play a couple more of your sounds, and then I have a couple of questions for you. I want to play. You mentioned voiceovers or voice work. I want to play this Merchant to kind of give people an idea of the quality. I mean, this is as good as any sound or voice work I've heard, in animation or games or anything like that. Can you play the one, Kendall, it says Merchant Weaponsmith? Yeah, let's listen to that one real quick.
Well, greetings, sir. I can tell you have a keen eye for fine weaponry. These here are the finest weapons ever wrought by mortal hands. Heavy battle axes from the dwarven holds of the Iron Hills. Deadly leaf-backed arrows from the elven kingdom of Selene. Folded steel swords from the fabled forges of Reldeven and Alisa.
So basically, I like that one. I like them all, but one of the ways I could see using that one as a DM or a GM is, usually they say, hey, I want to go buy a weapon. It's like, okay, well, you go into the guy's shop, and it's, the shopkeeper kind of gives you a squint and says, what do you want? And then you say, okay, open up the player's handbook and tell me what you're shopping for. So
exactly.
Yeah, so this adds a whole nother layer of life to it. And the actor there was Joe J. Thomas. So the second, it looks like, if I'm reading that too right. So very, very good voice work. You mentioned Monsterscapes, and I know this isn't a Monsterscape so much, but I want to let people listen to this. Yeah, it is a Monsterscape, the red dragon who's crashing around on the ground. Now, Kendall, there's a, I think there may be two red dragons. No, there's just one. It says Red Dragon Monsterscape on the ground. So you could do one or two things in your game. You can say the red dragon attacks, and its booming thuds crash through the town, and the townsfolk scream in terror. And that's scary if people are using their imaginations. But that right there was great. I mean, that was like, I was like kind of imagining, I felt like Godzilla was about to step on me. So, yeah, that's very, so that's what you're talking about, the Monsterscape. It's not just, hey, it's a red dragon. It's not just, hey, it's people running or whatever, or he's doing a fireball. I mean, that was a whole scape of stuff. I want to play one more, Kendall. Do the fireball spell, and then hopefully there's enough time for us to sign off. We got about a minute with Alex here. And once again, you had the build up, the energies kind of coalescing together, then the thing zipping out, and then just blasting the heck out of something. So excellently well done. We're talking with Alex from BattleBards, which is epic fantasy audio and tools for your tabletop role-playing game. I'm going to give you the next 30 seconds or so, Alex, to say anything, where they can go or whatever you want to say about BattleBards. And thanks so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for the time. It's such a pleasure to have a chance to talk with you guys. Again, please check us out at battlebards.com. If you're interested in any kind of audio and really building your audio library for the game, please go and check out our pre-order store. We are extremely active in the community. Reach out to me on Twitter. Reach out to BattleBards at BattleBards. We have a Facebook. We also, as often as possible, we try to Twitch stream our games so you can actually see how audio is being used, and you can just kind of chat with us. I'm also on a playcast for Rollcasters. That's most Fridays. So please find a way to engage with us. We love the community. We love working with you guys. We love also getting feedback for what audio do you want? What do you need in your games? Tell us, please.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Have a great week.
Thank you so much.